It's time for today's Lucky Land horoscope with Victoria Cash.
Life's gotten mundane, so shake up the daily routine and be adventurous with a trip to Lucky Land. You know what they say, your chance to win starts with a spin. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com to play over 100 social casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
In the spirit of reconciliation, the Theatre Thoughts podcast acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all traditional custodians of the land on which our episodes are recorded.
I got scammed by a man during the lockdown. I tried to buy a Pilates reformer online and he scammed me, and instead of going to the police, I became his friend and his confidant and his emergency contact. And and it's just, I guess it's a lesson in like radical empathy and curiosity, making you a happier person than vengeful things. I don't know. I guess it's definitely a cautionary tale, but I wouldn't say it's a cautionary tale that you'd expect if you hear it's a cautionary tale of a scammer. It's kind of like, yeah, go out there, go be scammed. It might be good for you.
Like, it might make a friend. Welcome back to a new episode of the Theatre Thoughts podcast, hosted by myself, Justin Clark, and featuring an array of Australia's best and brightest in the theatre industry and beyond. You can get full access to the podcast by signing up to our monthly email and joining the Theatre Thoughts Patreon community for as little as $3 a month. All the details can be found by heading over to our Instagram account at TheatreThoughtsAUS or our official podcast Instagram at TTPod_official. Let us know what you think of this episode by giving us a rating wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome everyone to a very special episode of the Theatre Thoughts podcast. I've been lining this one up for a while and I'm very, very, very excited that it's actually happening. So we have a multiple award-winning actor, singer, writer and comedian. She's one of Australia's best talents in the musical comedy world, widely known for her collaborations with the absurdist comedy sketch group Aunty Donna and one half of the comedy duo Double Denim with Laura Frew. She's most recently been seen in sketch show We Interrupt This Broadcast, heard as a vocal talent on Koala Man, which I loved, and on the ABC show Aunty Donna's Coffee Cafe. In the comedy world, she's written and performed Reform and Legacy and toured her award-winning show Average Bear across Australia and internationally, and is now streaming on Paramount Plus. It's Michelle Brasier! Welcome!
Hello! Oh God, I'm so tired just listening to all that stuff.
You've done a lot.
Yeah. I need to chill out.
No, go for it, I say. How are you? How's your day? You've just recently been in a meeting we were saying before, and you've been doing, all your stuff. You just finished your comedy, like the comedy leg, hey, for the year.
Yeah, I've just finished the big chunk of touring. And now I'm in the little gooch in between the big chunk of Australia and then when we go to Edinburgh. So I'm just now I'm doing all the other writing that I have to do and all the other things, which is good. But yeah, I've just been in the bath today watching Buffy. It's chilly. There's a chill in the air today.
It's getting into that time, isn't it? Where you just like, now's the time to rug up. I got my heater on and I'm going to have to turn it off because it's like sweating at the moment.
Oh, really? I'm so jealous. I've got the heater on. I've got 2 jumpers on. I'm freezing.
One of those Melbourne chills, isn't it?
Yeah, it gets into your bones. It's not even that cold, but there's something about it. It's like, because we have so many sunny days in winter, and a sunny day is like beautiful, gorgeous in the day, and then as soon as the sun goes down, Anyway, this isn't interesting.
It's fine. For anyone who doesn't know anything about Melbourne, this is great. Did you survive the earthquake at least? Nothing like rattled?
I missed it. I was doing a show in New South Wales, so I missed it. Devastated. I missed the last one too. It's tough, but I've had a coffee, so I've had a bit of like Melbourne culture.
Yeah. That's great. Well, thank you so much. I know we've met a few times after your shows because I've only in the past year just become obsessed with you, to be completely honest. I saw Reform at the Melbourne Comedy Festival last year because my brother was like, oh, you have to go see Michelle Brasier when you're in Melbourne. And I was like, oh, okay, I feel like I know that name. And then obviously I recognized you from working with Aunty Donna, and I took the chance. I went to see your show and I was just like, who is this woman? And I need to know every single thing about her right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It was great. Reform was such a good show. And then we saw Average Bear. My brother and I came to see Average Bear, and then I saw Legacy this year. So I've done the trio, which I'm very happy about.
You've seen the trilogy. Thank you so much. The Bad Things Happen to Me trilogy.
Yeah.
I like to call them.
Yeah. Well, I guess like the one thing I did want to ask you is where did let's go like right back, I suppose. Like where did it all start for you as like a performer and someone who's so uber talented as you are?
Oh, listen, I started when I was just a wee thing, like not professionally in any way. I wasn't like a child star. I grew up in Wagga Wagga, but I was singing before I was talking. Like I was a nightmare. I think my babysitter showed me Grease, and then it was all over. It was the first album I had was The Phantom of the Opera. Like I was always going to be so annoying. And I never, even in school, I never studied. I have never studied at all because I was like, well, I'm going to acting school, so why would I? Like I just was so focused on it. So I think, I don't know, I wish that I could say, oh, I saw this play and it changed my life, but it's like I feel like I just came out trying to do a jeté, but dancing, so I pivoted.
And you have such like, I mean, I know I sound like I'm just a fangirling here, but you have such a powerful voice.
Thank you.
We saw you do the musical comedy show at the end of last year at Enmore, and you just came out with All I Want for Christmas Is You, and I was just like, why are you not on Broadway? Like seriously, that voice, you have such a powerful voice, and I'm always gobsmacked by it.
Thank you. I wanted to do musicals, and I studied musical theatre at uni. And to be completely honest, I felt quite rejected by that particular industry in a way that wasn't really fair. Like I got enough rejections that you should get at your age when you first started out. But I was sitting in the room once when I was going into audition for Addams Family, and I looked around the room and I could see next to me was like there was Sally Bourne and then a Robin Arthur. And I looked at those women and we were running hours late, and they came and got me. They collected me from the room because I guess my audition time was earlier than them. And then they spent ages in the room with me, which was lovely for me. But when I came out, I looked at them again and they didn't seem annoyed. Like I just thought, how dare these people make Sally Bourne and Robin Arthur wait for me to fuck around in here? Like, how dare they make that? Like, how can this be the industry? Like, what happens when I'm them? Yeah. When I want to be, as established as these women, is that what I want to be doing? Waiting around for graduates to finish singing their little songs? Or do I want to be someone who goes, she can do it. She can only do 5 shows a week, for 6 months. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do 5 shows a week for 6 months. I want to be stunt cast. I was going for roles and then seeing people get stunt cast in them. And I was like, I can sing Rings around you. Sure, I guess I'll just go figure out a way to get stunt cast. And that's kind of why I started doing comedy. Because I was like, well, I'll get famous on my own. It's out of maybe spite or ambition. I mean, I love comedy. I've always loved comedy. But like if the right role came around, I would do music theatre. And, my management in the UK is like, do you want to do West End stuff? I'm like, I don't know. The money's not that good. It's crazy that your dreams sort of shift and change. But I do. My heart's with music theatre. I love it.
It's one of those things that once you're in, you're in, aren't you? Because it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I did. I haven't done many musical theatre shows, and they've only ever been community ones. But I do miss performing and just that aspect of performing. And I think it's one of those things it never goes away. Because it's
It's that community thing. It's why people go to church. It's why people join cults. It's because, you go through, you're in the trenches together and then you get to express yourselves. And it's beautiful. It's a vulnerable place. It's a place that encourages singing and being vulnerable and playing as adults. Like, of course it's addictive. Of course it's wonderful. And people make fun of it because they are too scared to let themselves enjoy it, because they would love it.
Yeah.
My partner and I, Tim, we met doing a production of Legally Blonde.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. I played Elle and he played Warner, and he broke up with me every night. And you know what? Negging, it works.
It got him in the end. Because he obviously features in all your comedy shows as well, with like different side characters and playing alongside you.
Yeah, he does. It's really wonderful to have him. He's such a jack of all trades. Like, I've never met such a jack of all trades before in my life. He's good at computers. He's a great actor. He's a great musician. He's just a great I mean, obviously I'm saying this because he's my partner, but I just really admire him, and I like working with him a lot because we complement each other so much. I mean, I'm so desperate for the spotlight, and he is so just like accommodate. Like, he doesn't want that. He just wants to be furnishing whatever is going on. And that's such an incredible partnership to have for two people in the performing arts with, egos. It could be an absolute nightmare, but luckily I've got enough for both of us.
Kind of balances out.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to talk about Average Bear because, like I said in the bio, it's on Paramount Plus. Everyone can go and watch it, and it's such a powerful production. I took a bunch of people to see because I was like, Michelle's in Sydney, she's doing Average Bear. I've heard about it on Paramount Plus. Let's go see it. And they were like, oh, okay, didn't really know what to expect. And they knew it was a musical comedy, but then when you go in, there's just so many layers to it. And it is a wholly powerful, beautiful show. And I guess, where did the idea for that come from?
I always knew I wanted to do it. I hate going to see a cabaret where somebody is clearly searching for trauma.
Right.
Like, I really hate the idea of this, like, trauma as a badge of honor and, like, you've earned more because you've suffered more. I really don't like that mentality that I think is kind of seeping in a bit to society today, which I totally understand. And, it's an overcorrection that needed to be corrected. But I hate going to see shows about, like, I just don't want to see another show about how it was hard for you growing up because you were a little bit different, but, like, not really that different, and it wasn't really that hard. Like, I'm sick of those shows. So I was always like, I love cabaret, but I don't want to write something until I have something to say. And I was doing, like, silly cabarets, like, comedy cabarets with my friend Vince we were called Backwards Anorak. We were really fucked. Like, have you ever seen Hot Department?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. We were very, very much like Hot Department. All of our songs, all of our shows, I think we did 4 shows, and every show we did ended in us making out and singing Only You by Yazoo. We did one show called The Higher the Hair, the Closer to God, and he played my dad, a preacher, and I played his daughter Chastity, and we still finished the show in the same way. It was really very dark and yucky and fun and gorgeous. And then I just was doing comedy with, Aunty Donna and doing Double Denim. And I had this story, that had happened to me. I'd lost my brother and I'd lost my dad, and I had these things sort of sitting in the wings, and I'd written a few essays and done a few storytelling nights where I told the story, and it really resonated with people. And I liked the way it made people feel, because I didn't want, even at uni, I remember they wanted us to do like a 10-minute cabaret, and they wanted me to talk about it. They were like, it's going to be so interesting. It's going to be, beautiful and heartbreaking. I was like, oh, it's funny. So I just tried to write funny things for a long time, because I think somewhere I knew that I needed the skills to be funny, and also I needed to know how to hold an audience before I could just bring this onslaught of information. I mean, it's a pretty full-on story, and I wanted it to be about hope. And this is what, coming back to the thing I said about the, like, going to see people's shows where they're just digging for trauma. I don't think, as an audience member, I'm not interested in seeing how upset you are. I'm interested in seeing who you are, regardless of what you've been through. And even, like, any actor that's playing any role, like, I'm very known for people. I'm a nightmare at the theater, but I'll sit there, and if somebody comes out and, like, is singing something, they're just playing a different role, but they're doing something. If they've not lost anything in their life, I can fucking tell. And I'll just sit back and myself, like, never lost a thing in your goddamn life. So I don't know. I just don't like, I'm just not interested in watching people pretend to be sad if they've never been sad. And so, and on the same token, I just didn't want it to feel like that. I really wanted it to feel like a show about hope. And I also think you need to, if you're going to make a show like this, you need to be over it. You need to be okay. You need to be moved through it. You need to be able to talk about it no matter what, in front of anyone at any time. This can't be something that's going to trigger you, because your audience can't sit there worrying about you. That's not their job. They paid. Otherwise, that's therapy that you're getting paid for. Like, that's crazy. Your job is to look after them. So they need to know that you're okay. So it took a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And there's like, obviously there's so many things in there that just weave in and out. Like you chuck in so many like amazing, funny songs as well. Like the Fingering Shed song is one of my favorites. It's so funny. It's always a good one. Whenever that starts playing at like anything you do, I kind of look at the people next to me. I'm like, hoo, you're in for a time.
It's really funny when you write musical comedy, because like usually you can't do your jokes all like over and over again. But if I go to gigs and I don't play Fingering Shed, people get a bit like upset. I'm like, I've been doing this for like 5 or 6 years, this song. But sure, yeah, like I'll pull it out.
Let's go.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on chumbacasino.com. I looked over the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at chumbacasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's chumbacasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
But then you followed that up with Reform, and Reform is like such an insane story. You know, and I'm sure you've told it time and time again in the show and on Triple J and everywhere else. But could you, for anyone who's not seen Reform, can you give us like a brief, like in a nutshell?
Yeah, of course. Reform is a show based on the true story, and it's, you know, it's sort of verbatim theatre. So a lot of the dialogue between me and the other person, who is Tim, is really what we said and based on messages and things. I got scammed by a man during the lockdown. I tried to buy a Pilates reformer online, and he scammed me. And instead of going to the police, I became his friend and his, you know, his confidant and his emergency contact. And and it's just, I guess it's a lesson in like radical empathy and curiosity, making you a happier person than vengeful things. I don't know. I guess it's definitely a cautionary tale, but I wouldn't say it's a cautionary tale that you'd expect if you hear it's a cautionary tale of a scammer. It's kind of like, go out there, go be scammed. It might be good for you.
Like, it might make a friend. And then just like how involved I think you two became was fascinating, because like you said, like you were his like kind of online therapist for a little while, you know, just like trying to talk him through breakups and all this other stuff. It
was quite a madness.
And then your most recent show, Legacy, which was about a whole bunch of things, really. Your most I was watching your journey in part of the story, which was your trip to Canada. To go to the comedy show. I mean, like I remember sitting there watching it happen via your Instagram going, what? How is this a thing? Like, you just have all this content. I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah. That's why I call it the trilogy, because I'm like, okay, now those 3 shows are done. Hopefully, like, no more insane things happen to me. But you know, I'm sure they will, and I'm sure it'll be good content. Long and short of it, I was in a very mild plane accident. I had to drive to Canada. I had a weird, painful cyst on my vagina. And also I took this out of the show, but in real life, when I finally made it to Canada for the biggest gig of my life, despite everything, the building caught on fire. And we had to reschedule. But I took it out of the show because I was like, this is it sounds
Yeah.
fake.
I was sitting there waiting for like that to kick in, and I was like, oh yeah, then she's gonna tell about how it caught on fire, and no way. And then you didn't. I was like, oh, interesting, because then you brought it back to the legacy of the Michelle Brasier that had your tickets for the cinema.
Yes, yeah, this woman who had my name, and I'd never met another Michelle Brasier. I'd never heard of another Michelle Brasier, so it was outrageous. I couldn't believe it, and I just went in search of this woman because I had her $10.50. I'd been handed it. They thought it was for me. It wasn't for me, and I had to go and find this woman. And I can't say if I found her or not.
It was so strange. Oh well, I mean, like the trilogy of shows is amazing to see your versatility as both a comedian and a performer as well, and just how each one has its own distinct voice and style to it, which I really love.
That's so kind. Thank you.
But you're obviously you have a lot of like comedian friends in the theatre, and a lot of like big ones as well. Like I've named you the crew in my mind, and it's just like, yeah, it's Gillian Cosgrove, Eve Blake, Gabby Ball, and just like have all these like amazing.
You call us the crew. We're called the Coven.
The Coven. I like that. It's a better name.
Virginia Gay, Chloe Wilson. Yeah, it's the Coven.
Yeah.
And like that's our there's a tight little Coven, and then Gabby, Sam, Andrew, and Mel. There's all just basically any good woman in this world. We're like your Cove expansion pack. You're in the Coven. Like you don't even know it. You're in the Coven. There's women I don't know yet, but they're in the Coven. It's really nice. I mean, it's wonderful to have such a supportive group of girls, and we work together. Like. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We hold each other up, which is something that's people don't talk about that. People are like, oh, it's competition and it's blah, and it's like it doesn't feel that way.
No, and I think that's what I love, because you're also, especially during the comedy festivals, you're so supportive of each other, and like just seeing it online, everyone's always posting like, go see Michelle, go see Jillian, go see Gabby, go see Mel and Sam. Like it's just it's really nice. And you're right. I don't think you don't see a lot of that stuff, which is I think why I like it.
Yeah, it's nice. I think it's really nice for us as well, just to have a base of women who are all excelling and enjoying their success, but also, celebrating other women, and not just women either, like that, anyone. But it's just in particular, I think we've been discouraged from getting together because, we might cast a spell. But it's just getting together despite that is really, really nice. It's really lovely.
Yeah. And I'm not sure a lot of people know this about you, but you're a big advocate for animals and guide dogs in particular.
Yeah, I'm an ambassador for Guide Dogs Australia.
Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about that? Because every time I see you at a show, you've always got a dog with you, and I always like, because I'm a massive dog lover, and I always like, no, they're doing their job. You can't say less like they come to you. But yeah, could you talk about that?
Yeah, I usually have Eva with me, who's my dog. She lives with me. She's actually on a walk with my neighbor. My neighbor sent me a text message just before asking if she could walk Eva, because everyone loves her. But yeah, so I started working with guide dogs because I love dogs, and because I was such an avid rescue dog fan and, anti-meat person. I think they saw me as someone who had like a young audience, who loved dogs, who advocated for, the right things ethically, who might be a good ambassador. And it's just such a good fit. I mean, the things they do are so incredible. And I'm such a big believer in animals and the difference they can make. I mean, guide dogs we got a therapy dog for my nephew, Noah, who he has Tourette's, and he really helps him with his tics, and he's just there. And I don't know, I just really, really love the things that they can do. That there's so much more than literally just guide dogs. They're incredible. Animals are incredible. All my shows have an animal. So like Average Bear is obviously the bear. Legacy is a panda, and Reform is about bonobos versus chimpanzees. Yeah, I don't know. I really love animals. I think they're really simple and beautiful. And my job with Eva, I guess, is just I take her to gigs, and I take her to set, and I take her around to get places used to having a guide dog. So I take her to like a concert or in a taxi and things like that. And she does amazing work. She's just so calm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I wish I had like space in my life for a little therapy dog of some sort, or just a pet of some sort. But I'm always moving houses, so it's always so difficult.
Yeah, it's really tough. I wish that they would make it a lot easier for us to have pets in Australia. I mean, because you're in New South Wales?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you just had that law come in where you can't be rejected for a pet now?
Yes, I have heard that, and more so for if you own like an apartment, that there's a law that the strata can't say no to you buying an animal.
Yeah, that's huge. I think in South Australia, it's a really big problem.
Oh, okay, right.
That they still can. I mean, here in Victoria, you can. I think you can't reject a rental applicant for having a dog, and you can't. There's no can't be strata rules. But that's like, we're Victoria. We're very loved.
Yeah,
we like our little animals.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I wanted to talk about, you've got your comedy career, but you're also quite involved in a lot of on-screen stuff as well.
Yeah.
Most recently with the We Interrupt This broadcast, which I keep seeing snippets pop up all the time on like my TikTok feed, and I'm just like, yep, watch this one. What was it like working on that show? Because it's a sketch comedy show, so I guess kind of your forte.
I mean, it was fun. It was just weird because usually when I'm doing sketch comedy, I'm doing it with Aunty Donna. And we have such a unique way of working, like a specific from go to woe. It's very specific, and it's directed by Max Miller, who is, a genius. So I was a bit nervous going into this. We were finishing filming up Coffee Cafe when I got the offer, and Ben Russell and I were on set together because he's also in We Interrupt This broadcast, and we were on set together for Coffee Cafe, holding a rat, actually.
Yeah. It felt like every comedian that was in Melbourne was in Coffee Cafe, and I loved it.
Yeah, well, I think the boys are really good at like grabbing people and championing them, and especially people who might not have had screen experience before. So that it's really wonderful. Obviously, like Mish Wittrup is always an addition to Aunty Donna stuff, and me and Ben, and so it's nice to be in that little family. And Ben and I were just talking about what are we going to do. We sort of took it for the money initially, and then we started doing it, and everyone on that show was so lovely. Like everyone on the set was a dream. The writers were all a dream. It's really hard doing commercial TV. And, there's a laugh track on it. That wasn't, we didn't sign up for that. So that, commercial TV is interesting. And when it's not your show, you can't veto things like that. Yeah. You can't control the edit. So it was a really good exercise in slowly understanding that you can't make requests about the edit all the time, and learning to just do what you're happy with. I don't know. It was a wonderful collaborative experience, and everyone was so brilliant. Just really different working in commercial TV, but cool, really cool.
Yeah, that's great. And with Coffee Cafe as well, you're so funny on that. And the show itself was so funny because, I mean...
How funny is Richard Roxburgh?
Oh my God, when he showed up, my friend didn't appreciate it because he never watched Aunty Donna, and he never watched Rake. So when Richard Roxburgh turned up, and I was just like, how the fuck did they pull this off?
And Mouse from Matrix.
Yes, and Mouse is like, Neo's Morpheus funny Neo. It's just like,
it's so weird. It was a weird day that day. It was insane.
Loved it.
We were all gathered around the monitors, like if we weren't on screen. So like in a lot of the reverses where my character should be sitting opposite him, if I didn't have any lines, I'd like leave and just watch the monitors so I could just like laugh because he was so funny and he was so good.
Yeah.
He was amazing. He was really special. And
everyone
was such a good sport.
Well, it's a big thing as well because like ABC would have had to tick off with that. Richard Roxburgh would have had to tick off with that, and then
that's a whole different character from a whole different show.
Yeah, it's like turns up like I am Rake. It's like, oh yes.
Really funny. Yeah,
it was so good. Well, there was a question I've been asking my guests recently about theatre and like how it's changing. And I'd love to know how, in your perspective, you think the theatre industry's changed over the years and how those changes have sort of impacted the work you do and the work that you create.
Well, I think people are more interested in really authentic stuff at the moment. Like people aren't as keen for things that are really polished. Which is also something that comes in an economic crisis. Like that is just the way that art tends to mirror that. But I think it's also a byproduct of TikTok and having like a glut of creators. And I think it's really exciting to see we're giving opportunities to people who are from a different class because I mean, I'm from the country. I didn't come from lots of money. And I felt when I turned up at VCA, it was a fucking shock to the system. I couldn't believe, and people just didn't have jobs. Like they were just like, they could just go to uni and not have to work, and that was fine. And they already had maybe been in professional musicals or, you know, had all these contacts because they're from the city and they have money, and you know, there's so many different things. And like, obviously, like different cultures and different races, different types of people that we're seeing, and different genders, and that's also exciting. But encompassing all of that, and at the root of all of that is, and what's so exciting for me is class, and people from different classes being able to come, which is something, you know, the UK's always been really good at it, and they're in danger of losing it, whereas I feel like we're discovering it, and I'm really excited for that. I'm excited to see something, you know, MTC main stage written by someone from the country. Like I think it's an exciting time for that stuff. And I mean, I always approach things with a real, just like, this is how I want to make people feel, and this is how I'm going to make them feel it. Let me have a go. And I felt like when I was 20, and of course I was 20, but it also felt like the time was different. I was going, please let me have a go. And they were going, well, what have you done? And now people who are similar to me, who are 20, who are going, please let me have a go, they're going, okay, what do you want to do? Like, at least having that conversation. And so it's really exciting. And I want to be a part of that, as I want to create platforms that weren't there for me.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that question, because everyone I've asked always has a different answer. And and I think it's really nice to see everyone's perspectives on it. Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. I also think we need to make it cheaper.
Yeah, that's always good too. Yeah.
That's about funding. That's a funding thing.
Yes, yeah.
And hopefully that's, you know, I mean, we got Labor. If we bully them enough, I think they'll be nice to us.
Yeah.
I feel like that about Labor. They're just so easy to bully. Do you know what I mean?
You could like push them.
They want us to like them.
Yeah.
They need us to like them.
Yeah, I've seen Albo at the theatre once. Like, he enjoys it. He knows what it's worth.
He likes it. I think he likes it.
Yeah. Well, to wrap up, I'd love to ask you our 1 minute theatre thoughts questions.
Okay, rapid fire. Let's go.
Cool. Okay, here we go. What's been your favourite production you've seen recently?
Oh, oh no, I'm not being very rapid fire. Cyrano.
Oh.
I know it's not particularly recent, but I really loved it.
Yeah, I really wish I saw that.
It was great.
Oh, she's got to bring to Sydney. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Evanescence, Bring Me to Life.
Yes. What role haven't you played yet that you'd still want to?
Paulette in Legally Blonde.
Oh, good.
And Jean Valjean.
Oh, I'd love that. Oh my God. Okay, I'll talk about that later. Who inspired you as a young performer?
Jennifer Coolidge, to be completely honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I don't know if that's a surprise at all now. Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge and Natasha Lyonne and Amy Poehler.
Oh, great. Which production would you most want to see come to Australia?
Ooh. Is it called A Strange Loop? The one from New York? Yeah, that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so specific. It's not going to, but it would be very cool if it did.
And the last one, finish this sentence. Michelle Brasier, funny, talented, and
hot as shit.
Yeah. Excellent. And that's a minute. Thank you so much.
Well done. We did it.
I would love to see you as Jean Valjean. Oh my God. That would be amazing. Mm-hmm. Can you make that, please? Can you do
I'm trying. Virginia Gay as Javert. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Far out. We heard it here first, people.
Just saying.
Excellent. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for jumping on and giving us your time and getting to know you better and hearing all your stories. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much to Michelle Brasier for joining us on today's episode. To find out more about Michelle, head to michellebrasier.com or stream her show Average Bear via Paramount Plus, or you can book tickets to her Edinburgh Fringe show Reform via her website. We'll be back at Meraki Arts Bar on Tuesday the 11th of July to talk with the team at Queen Hades Productions and their performance of Tough Titties. Follow the link in our episode's description to book your tickets. This episode was produced by Echidna Audio. Follow them on Instagram at Echidna hidden audio for all their audio services. Once again, if you enjoyed our podcast, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts and head to the link in this episode's description for our Instagram account, TikTok, YouTube, and Patreon. My name's Justin Clark, and I'll see you next time here on the Theatre Thoughts Podcast.
Have you ever wondered how your favorite performer actually feels? Well, here's your chance. Welcome to The Quiet Part Out Loud with me, Bobby Steggert, Broadway actor and now a therapist to a whole host of Broadway creatives. Part interview, part therapy, this is not your typical podcast. We'll go right to the heart of things with some of your favorite artists, what they still struggle with, what lessons they've learned, what they haven't figured out yet. There's enormous power in saying the quiet part out loud. Are you listening?
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.